George R. Smith College in Sedalia, Missouri. It was open from 18.
It's Courtney Black with the facts on Sherland Underwood Radio, and you are in the entertainment segment with Courtney and Kyle. It's time for a social media shout out. Today I'm shouting out from Instagram my girl Donna Webster. What's up, Donna? We appreciate you, girl.
All right. Excuse me. All right, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing today? Today is the 15th. The 15th of December. I should know that. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. We hung out. But today's December the 15th, 2020. Today I want to go ahead and start off with the show. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for tuning in to Street Therapy. Been a little bit since I've been in the chair. Been kind of moving around, and you know everybody's busy. You know, life is busy and slow at the same time. Just a lot going on. Really, just trying to be careful and be mindful, and also, you know, just navigate through life. So, yeah. But nevertheless, I want to go ahead and start off with this show. Time is now 4:02 p.m. I got a good show today. Really just want to somewhat of a conversation. Gentleman that I know and I respect and everything. I want to bring him into the show here. Really just want to have a conversation, a dialogue. That's really what today's show is about. Just kind of maybe current events. You know, we got a lot going on. The teachers sick out was today. It was today. The sick out for the teachers just saying, you know, listen, we don't feel like we should be forced to go back to school, you know, under the current circumstances, with COVID, you know, peaking and COVID being the way that it is. Got the inaugural coming up here, the inaugural for Biden, President Biden, is going in, and Trump and his buddies are fighting it tooth and nail, and then you have his posse, his the people that follow him and that are diehard Trumpers. They are definitely not happy with the decision. So I got a few things to talk about, and you know, racism in the fire department. I think Brother Ellington, I listened to his program earlier. He was on, I think, KUAW, our state representative here, Brandon Ellington. He had a conversation about that, talking about, you know, racism and a little bit in discrimination and things like that go on within the fire. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, was a KC Star. Somebody had an article also that was kind of highlighting that subject as well. You know, so got a few things going on in the city. Also, you guys doing all these donuts, all these donuts and stuff, man. They're down there in the power light. They're complaining about people stopping traffic and doing donuts in the middle of the street. And you know, I drive down there and drive through there, man. You got all kind of rings all on the street, man. Hey, man, y'all cut that stuff out. Find somewhere to do that. I was going down the street one day, wondering what was happening, and the whole highway stopped. And by the time I got up to where it was, man, it was smoking everything. Brothers doing donuts in the middle of the street. You know, man, cut that out, y'all. You got to be careful, man. So, without further ado, I want to add my guest to the show here. Brother Anthony, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Very blessed.
Good deal. Yeah, man. So, how have you been doing throughout this quarantine and COVID and man, how you holding up? You doing okay?
Well, yeah, I'm personally doing okay. Being like I told you on our last show, together, I try to keep the family prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, just to reiterate how we kept ourselves prepared. Making sure you do little things like buying extra clean goods, extra extra leaving some for everybody else. Don't worry.
Right.
But you know, just a little bit of extra case here.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's just gotten me through. And even if one of us was to get sick, we at least want to make it so that the house we have herbs, Just the basic steps. Make sure you get, so much as you are prepared for better will be.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. You got to make sure that you're prepared and things like that. That's something that I need to do a little better job at. But do what we can. But there's always room, for an improvement. Speaking of being prepared. Now, I was in the store the other day and I've noticed that toilet paper has become a hot commodity again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's weird. How you'll see the shelves full of produce and fruits and vegetables, but you can't find no toilet paper.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that I've noticed, man, just really been in the grocery stores. And I make deliveries and I deliver to grocery stores, so I kind of every now and then I kind of walk through. I've noticed a few years back, man, that you go to the grocery store and the shelves are packed all the way back. But if you notice, it seemed like now within the last year or two, if not, there's a lot of open holes there, man. A lot of spaces in there. Now I don't know if that was, if that is a result of, I guess with a trade war or having issues with China, or whatever the case, or is that just an issue with production? A lot of these companies folding up, or I wonder what that's about.
Well, I think realistically, like, when we are messing with, like, when we're going to Walmart's and, like, our corporation stores, like our Sunfreshes and stuff like that, our franchise stores, things like that, like, we're dealing with also corporate farms, and we're dealing with corporate shipping.
Right.
What I've noticed is in these corporate arenas, we have been limited, but if we was to go down to the city market or something like that, or find a little farmer's market, go around to these people that's growing food and stuff, there's not a shortage in the food, So I started to sit back and think, like, okay, I'm in Walmart, for instance. There's no real tangible fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to go down to the city market real quick and, see what they got going on.
Right.
But even now, how they're running the market with the COVID and things like that, I implore that people look into, getting a green zone, because, like you said, man, if them shelves get too bare, it's like them toilet paper shelves are.
Yeah.
That becomes scary.
Yeah.
And people, it's one thing when one person's scared, but when your community is afraid, that starts to lead to problems, that are more than what we need. And a high increase in crime, a high increase in people being aggravated.
Yeah.
It's just in general, people are aggravated. So the most that we can do is start growing our own stuff, visit our farmers markets. If you guys know anybody that's planting food and stuff, support them. Support them. Even if you just bringing them a blanket or something, support them. Because that is something that I've noticed. Apparently you're noticing, and I'm sure several of the viewers are noticing.
Absolutely, man.
Where's all the food going?
Yeah, and the funny, the irony of it, I actually got some people that are checking in here. I got Melissa Bell Burnett says hello, and she says teachers and students need to stay home. My sister, she also, hey, she says she's proud of me. Thank you, sis. But she said, LOL, Biden needs to help USA because Trump and his flunkies was also full of it. We need tough boots from all, and all of the blank on the hill. Yeah, we need man, we need just straight up, just people just keep it straight with us, man. And I think that's really why how Donald Trump won, a lot of his people figured that he wasn't a politician. They figured, okay, he's not a politician, he's a businessman, so he's gonna run like a business, and we gonna get everything together and things like that. But man, I think it went the other way, and they almost viewed him as an idol, man, and things like that. And I think it kind of went the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you see, like, now, I've always been a little ratchet. I'm not George Bush kind of conservative guy, but I'm more like a Ron Paul kind of conservative.
Gotcha.
And when I look at Trump, I had to tell myself, okay, they put this businessman in. I never saw it coming.
Right.
We never saw it coming. They never saw it coming.
Right.
Instead of us taking the time to know, like, the pain I get, again, that's why, you know me, I'm a preacher. So I looked at it like, all right, I got a businessman in office. Let me make my thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I've kind of been focused, with. And a lot of people of like mind have, if you really sit back and you notice, even amongst COVID-19, people been making their money. We've been surviving as a country and a city and a state. We've been surviving.
Yeah.
And people are starting to realize how good they are at things.
Absolutely.
So we gotta stop looking at everything like how this man is putting his foot on our neck, when we can look at it as maybe he cut the chain and I got a free arm now.
Yeah.
Because that's taking you a step out of the system.
Yeah.
Us figuring out how to feed ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, I think what happens, man, is when when your back is up against the wall, man, you can figure out, how to fight back real quick. And I think
black people been coming together, even if we was to look at it and say, oh well, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. We don't even have to add that in.
Right. Black
people as a whole, I've been seeing on social media, I've been seeing in real life. Black people as a whole have been gaining a spirit among us. Our community has been gaining a spirit among us because we are happy to see each other.
Yeah.
Being locked down,
Right.
Like, oh man, dog, you how you doing due to lockdown?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but we're happy to see each other.
And
we're happy
and being creative, man.
Yes, we're working with each other. Yeah. We're creating avenues that we didn't. I think the other day I was driving by and seen a little house party. I ain't gonna say where, I ain't gonna say where. Right. But like I've seen a little house party.
Yeah.
And that, how much that makes me smile.
Man.
Because it's like those was when we were young.
Yep.
And now it's getting to where it's almost like that creativity of a child.
Yeah.
So let's look at it like, yeah, we got this orange and crazies, running around doing what they think, but when we really think about it, the only thing that they're destroying is their own system. Yeah.
And it's funny you said that. They're destroying the system that they're benefiting from as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You literally tearing down.
Why we care is never being like a. I've always wondered that. Like, why would we care if this man is destroying a country that wasn't ours? We should build from its ashes.
Yeah. But blacks, man, we've always been communal people. All about community and unity and bring each other together, man. That's why we had the house parties, man, and that's why we did the whole big barbecues and things like that, because we've always been communal people, man, that looked out for each other. And I can speak from the black experience, because I'm a black man raised in a black family. I can't really speak for any other communities because I really don't know, but I know that how I was raised, that everybody knew everybody. Everybody was cool with everybody. We all knew, what was going on. We knew what was going on in, somebody else's house, and it wasn't even in their business. We just had that bond with them that we knew what was happening.
Family.
Your family.
We were family.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's be real. Like,
yeah.
I got friends that I grew up with. To this very day, I talk to most of them.
Yeah.
And most of them I grew up with since preschool, and then we got blessed to be with each other.
Yeah.
A couple of us in college. But growing up with people like that, growing up with those cats in our neighborhood, like our generation, we had a real close sense of family.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing with our youngsters today, like they going around crazy because we've lost our way of children.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm saying that right. Like we lost our way of thinking like when we were children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We wanted to go see Granny.
Yeah.
But now that we grown, or do we stop and make that trip?
Yeah.
We wanted to be with Auntie. We wanted to go do that. We wanted to go see a little buddy down the street that we would knock on his door and be like, "Ma'am, could so and such come outside?"
Right. Yeah.
Now we don't do that no more.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and I think, man, I really think with just the and I don't want to make excuses because you make time for what you want to make time for, but the busyness of life, when people are people are working more and getting paid less, and just really, man, just moving in ways that man, just you have no extra time, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't make excuses because, like I said, you make time for what you want to make time for, but yet and still, with families and things like that, you figure, there ain't enough time to do that. There ain't enough time to do that. But really, in all actuality, there is. Speaking of farming, I actually reached out to a sister, man. She has seeds, and I think it's called melanated seeds or something like that, man. And I'm like to get her on the show to do an interview with her to, just talk about, how it is that she's, growing what she's growing, and what are the seasons of reaping and sowing, and what I'm saying, what are some of the processes and how do we get product, down here, but what are some of the things that we could, do here to be, self-sufficient and things like that,
Yeah, and that's one thing I can say about Kansas City, because I know you do a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the good jobs are really good jobs.
Right.
And like someone like that, even like teaching these people something as simple as that.
Yeah.
You really don't know what good is done.
Yeah.
I know that we spoke. I know this. Even these young boys doing the work. Like do you know what they're building?
You said
They're building their future.
Urban Rangers Corps.
And yes.
Yeah.
Urban Rangers over on 59th and 4th Parkway.
Right.
Those guys, like, and all the other organizations that take the time, especially with our youth, that's important.
Yeah.
But they're able to build that, they'll have a lot more respect. And we gotta be focused on that because that's what the city needs. If we were focused on money and everyone was okay money-wise, like such and such grew food, you grew food,
right.
such and such knitted clothes and made like this. And we just started to, we saw the family that needed something,
Yeah.
The solution is actually really simple to everybody's problems. Coronavirus, Donald Trump, all of it. It's love.
Yeah.
And the more love the black community begins to show itself, not worried about what Donald does, because we know they ignorant. Like we know that not everyone's going to have our best intentions at hand.
Right.
But the person with the best intention for you oftentimes is you. So if we started loving on ourselves, loving each other, loving, wanting to go be around each other,
Mhm.
I think we'll be just fine. If anything, them locking down the city could be a blessing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really focused, man. And I think that's really, if anybody wants to tap in, you guys, ask questions and things like that or comment. But or well, you can't call in because he's on the phone. but,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
but
it's hard now. I understand, though. It's hard out here, but
yeah,
together,
yeah.
it can get a little easy.
Well, and that's really what it did, bro. And it just it took a lot of distractions. Yeah, it hurt, you know what I'm saying? Because people who are essential workers got to work extra hard, at longer hours and just due to
Dude, y'all need to be handing out $20 to people. Y'all got the check.
man. Listen, man. We all need to be, and like I said, it's just the essential workers are working a lot. You know what I'm saying? And for the people that are in, the restaurant business and the bars, in the bars and things like that, have been really limited on what they can do. And so it really causes you to refocus, and it causes you to kind of really shift your narrative. I mean, we're doing homeschooling at home with our kids. You know what I'm saying? If that right there is just like, wow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But you got to do it.
But you want to know what you're learning now?
What's that?
Again, you're learning that child a lot more. And then instead of them saying, Miss Smith taught me how to do this, they're like, my mama and daddy taught me how to read.
Yeah.
And that makes you hold that to a little bit of yourself. Even though it's harder, that makes you get up a little bit earlier, makes you go to sleep a little bit later.
Yeah.
Wrong with that. We putting in that work,
Well, what it also does, man, is it really lets the parents know what our kids are being taught in school. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's because when they come home and then you're and as a parent you're kind of like, well, you should do this and this and this, and they say, well, I haven't learned that yet. Or it's like, well, what is this? And then they say, well, we doing this. You're like, well, what is that? So it's really letting the parents kind of get an insight on the parents to not just send your kids to school and come home and do homework, but actually go through the curriculum and see what it is that they're getting poured into them all day long.
Yeah. Honestly, just looking at it, because it's hard for us because it's inconvenient and financially is a burden.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
This entire situation, 2020 itself
Man.
was a financial burden and unnecessarily, inconvenient. For people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I read a post the other day. It said, I'm just kind of hypothetically said, I can't verbatim, but it says, I think it said, for the things I thought I wanted in life, now I understand that I actually had everything I needed. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, wow. For the things that I wanted in life, that I thought I wanted this and this and this and this and this and all this other stuff, but now I'm realizing I have the things that I need. And that's, man, that was pretty heavy, because we go after everything.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that during this time, even though again financial burden and very inconvenient, but do you think that you gain certain jewels out of it? Like you being able to see things from a 360 perspective, and as a father, I've learned so much stuff about the family that I've been raising years.
Yeah.
In the matter of a couple of months.
Yeah.
Just because I had to.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you saw certain gems like that, on your side.
I did, man, and I'm still doing it. I've known that I'm learning that I need to brush up on my math skills. but yeah, man. But no, just really just in general, yeah, just little gems. Well, actually, one thing I would say, being being able to come home and to literally sit there with my daughters, man, and go through their schoolwork, that's something that's priceless. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, you been as a father, you want to spend as much time as you can with your children, but you work. You know what I'm saying? So being able to come home and sacrifice a little sleep, or whatever the case, but to sit there and make sure they got their curriculum. And it don't, and sometimes, we miss a few, and sometimes some things fall between the crack. But then the next day we get back up, we do it again. Next day we do it again. Next day we do it again. But not to give up, man. But just to consistently, consistently do it, and to see them appreciate that, but also to see them, go through their frustrating moments when they're frustrated because they can't get it, when they're frustrated because they're getting upset, you know what I'm saying, and they can't just figure it out, just things like that to really kind of get them upset, but also working through their frustration and taking a step back and say, listen, let's regroup and let's try it again. Little things like that, man. That's a good question, but yeah, little things like that really made me say, you know what, we can do this. How about yourself, man? What are some things you've been learning?
It hasn't been my path. What I am learning is I'm learning a lot more about my children,
Yeah,
what they like, what they dislike, having to be like a teacher for them, having to now adapt to their personality and not just my iron fist,
yeah,
because that won't teach them.
yeah,
So actually having to become, watchful of my children, understanding my children, that's a gem that I got because now I'm able to teach them in the ways that they need to be taught,
right,
and I can teach them how I want to teach them.
right, exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's a gem.
yeah,
Another gem, we're growing our own food, storing,
yeah,
and that's just good behavior.
yeah,
Financially, we held back off of some things, and with that, we're able to save up on more.
yeah,
So I believe that I've gained very good discipline traits out of it
yeah,
because having to be limited brought about something good.
yeah. I agree with that. That's a great point, man. In fact, I think we've been spending a little too much time in Hobby Lobby, man. Going a lot, just like I told my wife, I said, well, let's go here and make some soap. So my daughter's birthday was yesterday, so we sit down and got her the soap kit. I said, let's figure out how to make soap, and let's figure out how to make candles. Let's figure out how to make this stuff, because she loves to do things like that. But man, just really keeping your mind fresh, and keeping having to measure out things. This right here is a quarter of a cup of this, or this right here is a half a cup of this, and then having to put all that stuff together and use the math and all those things to really work it out, man. I think that's and then learning the skill, learning the skills, right, and hopefully learning an entrepreneurial thing where put in the package and sell it. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that, that have to be done.
Um, I studied up on it because I have when you ask what those jobs do. First, I
What was it?
I guess they were setting churches and signs and stuff like
Oh yeah, the Proud Boys up in Washington. Yeah,
dude, I just like so
yeah. The thing about it was, man, is they were upset on the situation, and I read one article said that one of the member or the founder actually went up to the Capitol, man, and they don't know what what the conversation was, but when he came from out of there, it wasn't but a few hours later they were going to go set the church on fire. That was the AME church, the black church up there, or whatever the case. And then I found out that AME church was the sister church to the church that was a Dylan Ruth went down there and shot up in the Carolinas. So that was kind of a church that was like the sister church of that one. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of ironic how that happened. You know what I'm saying? It's just, one of them things. But yeah. And then the Attorney General? He just he resigned.
And I think being that since we're at that as a country, we should cross off and step back and wonder, why am I so emotional?
Right. Yeah.
It is one thing to know about community, yeah, but why are we so emotionally
Gotcha.
we are potential harm, and that's both sides.
Sure.
Like, hell, there's an independent side. Like, what about those guys?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that we are so emotionally invested that we're willing to stand out in the cold and fight each other like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, no matter, out of 45 presidents,
mm-hmm.
America is like this. So if we was to sit back and really look like, oh well, this side and this side, both sides have been aside.
Right. Yeah.
If we don't realistically start loving one another seriously, and I'm not talking about just the kumbaya type of love. I'm talking about, like, seriously locking down.
Right.
Being a community, the village again, bringing about that village. If that is your neighbor, get to know your neighbor.
Right.
Like, get to know who's across the street from you.
Yeah.
Oh, them boys got the trap house. Well, understand that you being someone that may be an elder or somebody, hey, brother, I just so happen to left this job application in your mailbox.
Yeah.
Take the time. Taking the time and not being scared of one another, because, man, if they sitting down, I'm telling y'all, man, you got to start loving each other, because none of us is ready for war with each other. None of us. No man is ready for war with his neighbor like that. No man. Our Civil War was our bloodiest war. No man is like that. And for us to be sitting here as a country, too rich, elite, I'm talking about men in the millions, men in the billions of dollars net worth, who could buy our jobs.
Buy them and shut them down. Yeah, and that's really essentially what it is, man. Is really getting back to the whole communal aspect of it, man. And I've talked about this, some time ago. But I mean, we have to, because I mean, the saying says, united we stand, divided we fall, or a house cannot stand if it's divided, man. And that's the truth, and oftentimes is the narrative that we get from them. And I think that's really where the emotions come from. And you talked about, why are we so emotional? Why are we so emotional? I think really that's where the emotions come from, man. Just being fed a narrative. Our news tells us the same thing every day. We see that. The local news 459, 41, 62, or whatever the case. It says it shows. I mean, it's owned by the news owned by about 3 to 5 major, conglomerates, which feed us the same stuff they want us to see every single day, and it's really up to
people like you guys, small time,
man. We appreciate it.
People have no idea. Thank God.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Because oftentimes you get the same narrative. I was on YouTube. This was some time ago, and they did this clip, and the clip was about 10 different sports news anchors and things like that. They all said the same thing at the different times, man. And you're just like, wow. It's like they're saying the same exact thing, and that's really the push of narrative, man. If you continue to tell people a certain thing about a certain group of people, and then you begin to believe that. You know what I'm saying? It's an ideology. It become a part of you.
If most people really sat and thought about it, where their anger and stuff came from is because you kept seeing this one side so much that it was almost deep into your brain.
Right.
And if you grew up thinking another way, you're like, no, that's not right.
Right.
And then you thinking, hell, I'm trying to tell you guys that maybe, Trump's not that bad. Somebody look at you like, oh, you're one of those people.
Right.
And then from there, you feel like you got to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You got to, that's craziness.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought we were supposed to keep that stuff private.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just me. I thought that's what we were supposed to do until it came down to them polls.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
So comfortable with each other that we are arguing such personal matters.
Yeah.
God, politics, finance, those are personal matters.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so comfortable just putting it out there, we gotta gain like a certain sense of privacy, like social media, it helps, but it also it made a wrecking ball.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, it did, and it does help. I mean, we're on social media right now, talking, just streaming this. But I mean, it definitely has its strong points. But I mean, I get what you're saying, and I agree with it. Social media is a beautiful platform to do what it's a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool to get the message out, get things that need to be done out. But it can also be a vice. It can lock you in there to the point where you get stuck and you're in this whole imaginary vortex of getting mad if somebody don't like your post, and going through the cyberbullying. We saw that kids going through depression and suicide and things like that off of cyberbullying, and everybody just even the world star hip hop stuff, man. Just a lot of that stuff we even looked at. It created it's a yin and a yang. It's either or. It's it's good and bad. What I'm saying? But if you, once again, back to media, when you consume so much of it, man, you could always paint a picture however you want. However you want that picture to be painted. I mean, all you do is put a Google search in, and then based off of the algorithm, it's going to continue to you type Timberland boots. Then you can be watching a video or something. Next, there's an ad for Timberland boots that come across your things. So I mean, it's going to give you what you want, and that's really what it is, man. Right now, I think one of the highest searches was guns. You put in guns, and you got a whole search full of guns because there's a lot of people, man, that are buying guns right now.
And then nobody's why that, why are we all arming ourselves? We all are innately preparing for something because we know something ain't right.
Right.
As a people. And what that is we have gotten to the point where we feel like we can't trust our neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It starts at, in our own homes, because a lot of us feel like we can't even trust a lot of our friends.
Yeah.
So imagine how you would feel towards the president.
Yeah.
That dude, or our city officials.
Right.
Now, even right now, what's going on? Everyone with their own different perspective, everyone with their own opinion. We're still looking at the fact that one, our children are suffering because not all of us parents are good teachers. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
but we want what's best for our children.
Yeah.
And so of course, if people feel like they need to keep them home, they keep them home. If they feel like they need to send them to school, they keep them to school.
Yeah.
But what are we really doing? We're bombarding the children with so much of our stresses.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the beginning of the show. I think today they had a teacher teacher sick day or something like that. Basically, where the teacher's saying, "Listen, we're gonna do this protest, or we're gonna do this thing where we're not gonna, we're not gonna be forced to be forced to go to school during, during COVID, during these rises and these spikes of COVID, and things like that. Now they know. Now we see that they got a vaccine coming through, and this vaccine is, I think there was one lady in Truman Medical Center, doctor or nurse, or I think she was like the first one to get it or something like that, or whatever the case, or it got down there. But when we see these vaccines starting to roll out, I know people, man. I know people in the pharmaceutical company, in medicine, that highly agree with it. But I know some people that are in medicine that disagree with it. I know people in the hood that on the block to say they agree with it, and I know some to say they disagree with it. So it's one of those things, and it, like you said, man, that trust factor. It goes back to the trust factor. As far as a president, can we trust, whomever, and I think that's one thing that we gotta look at, man. I mean, you look at the facts, and, you do your research and whatnot, but I think sometimes there's always something that we're not being told, unfortunately, on any aspect of it, whether it be COVID, somebody died from COVID or pneumonia or this drug, whether it helps or hurts, so I mean, I think there's good and bad on that stuff, man.
I think even with stuff like that, I believe that it should remain to be a choice. Once it becomes that's when we create this dissatisfaction and cause action personality.
Yeah.
And because people agree with it and because people don't agree with it, I believe that should always be a choice. I hope that we're never put in a position to where we're trying to force people to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people have a problem with that.
Right. Right.
A lot of the time, when city and state problems on our president, which we shouldn't do, and that's why we don't get a lot of things done. It's imperative that we focus on our local leaders. But as long as it remains a choice, then I say if you want to take it, take it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take it, don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it.
Shouldn't be a debating point for anyone.
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be a debating point. If you want to wear, I think even with the mask and stuff, to be real with you, because of what I know, I think that if you want to wear a mask, you should. If you don't want to wear a mask, you should.
Right.
Just because that sense of choice is what keeps people sane. And the more that you feel people feel like you're taking away the sense of choice,
their rights,
the more insane things will get.
Yeah, feel like you're taking away their rights, like you're making them do something. Yeah, no, I understand that. It's like, if you don't do this, then you're forced to do something. I agree. Well, see, and I had a conversation, like I talk about friends in medicine. We were talking about the flu shot some years ago. And we all had a conversation. We were kind of sitting around talking. And so the flu shot came up, and they were talking about, well, man, I believe in taking the flu shots. And some of the people that were sitting there saying they don't agree with taking the flu shot, And so I said, let me ask you a question. I said, do you take the flu shot? And he said, yeah. I said, do you take the flu shot? And brother said, no. I said, so if you take the flu shot, then that should protect you from having the flu. Right? He said, right. So I said, now what if he has the flu over here and he don't take the flu shot? You know what I'm saying? And he catches the flu. Does that affect you? He said, well, I said, if you took the flu shot and it doesn't affect you, then it shouldn't affect you, right? He said, well, no. I said, I understand your point, you know what I'm saying, about wanting to take it. That's, that's your business. But if this flu shot is protecting you from getting the flu, so if he catches a flu, then it shouldn't even really bother you because it's protecting you from the flu. You know,
Right.
so
You know?
you know what I'm saying? If your shot is protecting you from getting this flu, and this brother catches a flu, then that should be your invisible force field to keep him like a magnet. When you turn a magnet around the other way, it repels it. Then that flu shot should repel whatever disease he has. You know, yeah, it was just a little conversation we were having, man. But you know, I mean, when you take the rights of the people away from the people, then the people obviously feel like it's not right. You know, I should live in a democracy. I should be able to do what I want to do within respect of the bounds or whatever the case. But I should be able to do what I want to do. But when you tell me you can't do that or you have to do that, or I'm going to make you do that, then I mean that, that's tough.
Even when you at work and you got a boss, and he be like, dude, like, and you get that little sense of, you making me do this because you think that you got more power than me. Anyone, no matter who you are, it is a human trait.
Yeah.
You can find it even in the scripture.
Yeah.
It's a human trait. No one wants to have their choice taken away.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wants to have their choice taken away.
Yeah.
You know, so how we treat each other, like we shouldn't, be at such an odds that we are willing to decimate someone's religious ground, whether you agree with its philosophy or not.
Or not, right.
And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. Again, like I said, I'm rather conservative. I'm not necessarily a Republican nor a Democrat, but I have conservative views.
Yeah.
I boldly disagree if they did do that, because again, media has a close thing if they did do that.
Right.
If they set those churches and stuff on fire, I'm strongly against that.
For sure.
Because of the simple fact that you lit a fire somewhere so near someone's place of worship.
Right. Sacred, man.
Sacred ground.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if you don't have even that type of remorse and respect, like, imagine what you would do on a real battlefield.
Yeah. I real quick, you talked about being conservative, and talked about Republican and Democrat. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, man. She's an older lady, and she called me the other day right after voting and everything. She asked me if I voted. I'm like, well, I did. So we got a conversation of voting in this. So she asked me, why I made the choice that I made to vote. Why did I choose the candidate that I chose? And I was like, well, I chose that person because, of my own convictions. You know what I'm saying? How I felt that we needed to shift the narrative, as far as an American, which is my right. And so she said, well, why did you do that? And so I'm like, well, what do you mean why? And so we got in this whole tug of war about, why did I vote the way I voted and everything. And I said, listen, she made the reference that, we've gotten, welfare, we've gotten this, and we've gotten, our cities haven't, increased or things like that off of Democrats. The Democrats haven't really done anything for our cities, and the Democrats haven't really done anything to advance our city. I said, okay, if that's true, in 45 years, or well, not 45 years, but in the length of time that we've had cities, so we've had Republicans in office too. And she said, well, yeah. I said, what have they done? You know what I'm saying? If you say Democrats have done all this thing and our cities look the same way that they've looked for years, so obviously we've had Republican presidents in there as well. Now, what did we get from them? So you're saying Democrats is the bad and the Democrat. Well, wait a minute, we have Republicans in there too. I mean,
America, the best way we can go, seriously, self-sufficiency. Communities should be able to depend on each other.
Yeah.
Cities should be able to depend on each other. States
Yeah.
depending on each other. They never leave our nation depending on itself.
And I think a lot of times, brothers, is we stay focused on the president, the president, the president, the president, the president, and that's what we got our sights on is just the president. You know, President Obama. You know, when he was elected, is President Obama. He's a black man. President Obama, he got the swag. President Obama, he got the black family. President Obama, he gonna do for black people. President, you know. But then when we did that, man, we really didn't focus on our local stuff, man. So we got the presidents. Okay, cool. We got a president. He gonna take care of us. Okay, well, what about these local elections, man? That have these low turnouts.
People don't know that they got more power.
Exactly.
Your governor
Yeah,
has more power than the president. It's
man.
just that the president represents us on a higher level.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's
But your
why, and that's
governor,
right.
that's low key. That's king.
Yeah.
They gonna see.
Well, and see, that's why I have every so often I have the lawyers and the Nimrod Chapel from the NAACP. I have them call in, man, just to really kind of give us a perspective on what's going on in Jefferson City, what's going on in Capitol Hill, what they called in here. We talked about before voting. They wanted to call in. They called in. We did a Zoom about voting and things like that. Some of the things that to look out for, and some of the numbers that we could call if we felt like we were being misrepresented at the polls, or if we were turned away from the polls, or things like that. And if we felt like that our registration was at the wrong poll, so what type of things that we could do, on that level, as far as a legal level, what is our right to know that, listen, we have a right to vote. But then on the flip side is, we have a right to vote, but we can't stop there. It's got to go beyond voting.
Yeah. Because they think that vote changes the entirety of their life.
Right.
And it ain't.
Right.
The hood is the hood.
Right.
It's in the hood. And I mean, we all know this.
Right.
We all know this, but it's like a sense of hope, that people have.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that, yes, voting matters, but believe me, voting matters.
And
but we don't make our votes useful.
Mm-hmm. We just did the 10-year census in 2020. So the next census won't come out for a whole another 10 years. And due to that census, it allocates funds to go to the cities and things like that really need the most funds. And I brought this up on a show some time ago. It's like, if we didn't fill out that census to the best of our ability, say, well, I don't want the government to know our business, or I don't want them to know my business. Okay, well, that's fine. The government already know your business.
Yeah.
And one, and two, that's a whole 10 years, man, that you're going to be undercut on a lot of this stuff because you felt like you don't want them in your business. That's 10 years. That's a generation, pretty much.
I'll be real. Even for my revolutionary minded people,
Mm-hmm.
you have to really think about it. If you want to know what the difference is really between Johnson County and 64130,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the census.
The census.
They are filling out their census correctly.
Yeah.
They get the proper treatment to where their city streets are funded.
Yeah.
Their parks they don't look like trash. They can afford to send people out and do these contracts. The more that you participate in the census, the better they can allow that money, because now it can be handled legal.
Yeah.
It's not like they just giving community money.
Yeah.
It's just not accounted for.
Well, in
It
another,
has to be accounted for, and every head matters.
right,
So
right.
if you're not filling out the census, and you wonder why the hood look like the hood.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, man, is I've gone to the school board meeting. I was there last year. I've gone to some of the board meetings that they had and we live in Lee Summit. But I was going to some of the board members and some school board meetings and things like that, man. And I kind of looked around and it was some brothers and sisters in there, man. But it wasn't a lot of us in there, and I think that's oftentimes is yeah, man, it takes away from your afternoon from doing whatever you have to do in the afternoon. Yeah, it's another hour, 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours sitting there listening to somebody that's probably redundant that you could probably fall asleep on. But then there's also valuable information that you might not get if you weren't in that room. And I think that's something that's so important, man, because oftentimes is when some of those moves have been made and some of that stuff is shifting a certain kind of way, like we're not in our rooms, and so when we sit there like, oh man, well, where did that come from? They said, well, we talked about it in our last meeting. Weren't you there? No, I wasn't there. I said, well, sorry. we voted on that. You know what I'm saying? So if your vote wasn't there, your vote didn't count. So I mean, it's really just showing up, man. And this all, and we're gonna wrap this up here in just a second, but it really goes back to what we talked about, brother, and was at the beginning of the show, man. It's community. That's really what it is, community, man. I know a lot of times you look at the old shows and stuff, and they have all the members of the neighborhood. They meet down in the basement of the church. They sitting there, somebody fried a chicken, somebody doing this, but they all sitting down there talking about what happened. We seen it in, Dr. King, man, in some of the rallies and stuff, man, some of the marches and things like that they went through and stuff. What they do, they met at the church, man. They met in the basement of the church. They met, in the foyer of the church and said, all right, listen, we understand what's going on. What can we do? And I think a lot of times right now, man, is the churches are really, to be honest, just have to have that community feel to them as well, and I think that's really important, man. Churches have really got to have that community.
To be able to tell your government, you got your paperwork. 501c3 is messed up. Y'all try to fill out a 508. The best I can tell them, 508 the best I can tell them. But if you got a 501c3, I mean, that's the more you know.
Yeah.
Like it's time that the churches become what they used to.
What? Yeah. Absolutely, man. So listen, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man, brother. I definitely appreciate you reaching back out to me, man. And I think the biggest takeaway from the conversation that I really got, man, was we talked about being self-sufficient, being reliant, taking care of yourself, but also looking out for your neighbors, man, and things like that. Am I right about that?
Yes, sir.
My man, right on.
Community love, man. That's all that we need. Real, genuine stuff,
100%. Absolutely. Listen, you guys tune in to another episode of Street Therapy KC. This is your man CJ, my man Chris. And for my guest here, brother Anthony, listen, I appreciate you, brother. Take care of yourself, man.
You too.
All right, now take care. All right, y'all. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good week. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll see you next time.